Why should you vote for Solomon? King Solomon was known as one of the greatest leaders of his time. King David was his father and had chosen him as his successor. He ruled Israel for 40 years and acquired immense wealth and significant influence for Israel. His reputable wisdom and riches made him a well-celebrated king. His leadership skills were put to test when he organized a centralized government for Israel, developed trade routes that linked neighboring cities, improved tax collection system, and established a well-equipped large army for Israel. He was brilliant in architecture and economy, which was a significant impetus to Israel's development. King Solomon was a builder. He built the first temple in Jerusalem for God in line with God's promise to David. He even built his own palace, the terraces, the wall of Jerusalem, and Hazor, Megiddo, and Gezer. He made Israel rich by establishing trade with other countries. He developed trade routes that linked neighboring cities. He was a good trader and a successful merchant. In the 1 Kings chapter 9 verse 11, King Solomon traded with Tyre and supplied Hiram, king of Tyre, with cedar and cypress logs and gold for his every desire. He was a diplomatic ruler and established friendly ties with his neighbors. King Solomon married the daughters of the kings of Egypt, Moab, Edom, and Sidon, so as to establish strong ties with them. His administrative skills were demonstrated when he oversaw 550 officials in charge of the labor force. His amazing diplomatic and administrative skills put Israel on top of its game. Not only that, King Solomon had demonstrated his faith in God by writing the Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Songs to worship and praise God. In the 1 Kings chapter 3 verse 12, God says, "Behold, I give you a wise and discerning mind, so that none like you has been before you, and none like you shall arise after you." God had given Solomon both wealth and honor so that in his lifetime he will have no equal among kings. We need a leader like King Solomon, a man of wisdom, riches, righteousness, administrative skills, and diplomacy. Cast your ballot and make your voice heard. Vote for King Solomon. Now's the time to make Israel greater.